is a really quick mental shift, which can be kind of discombobulating. Goodbye. I'm a ghost. I'm back.
Isn't it crazy how that works? Though?
Yeah.
Theater, like.
I'm gone again.
Yeah, you want to tap it? Yeah, you know how to fix it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Long Form Conversations, the podcast where we talk about long form improv. As always, I'm your host, David. We have a very special holiday edition of our episode today. During the episode, you might hear me munching away on a candy cane. It's the holiday spirit. I'm not gonna stop. So today we have a very special guest. This is a actor, writer, comedian. This is Lilliana Winkworth.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
I always think it's fun. First of all, we had our little UCB holiday party earlier this week.
Yeah. How'd
Did you have a blast?
I went, I stayed until 12:30 when it ended, and then I went home.
You make it sound like you were serving jury duty.
Very good time. Parties overwhelmed me, but I was like, you know what? I'm so lucky to be here. Everyone here is so cool. I looked good. I had a cool dress.
You had a great dress. You look like a disco ball.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And a red
coat. My mom got me that coat that day.
Really?
Yeah.
Same day coat?
It's amazing. And
worked out.
We don't usually agree on coats, so it was great.
Wow. What's her style? What's her style? She always getting like animal print?
She's more like the tweed, like, oh, isn't this nice? And it's like a little more like
Where's she from?
Fargo, but we're from here. I grew up with her here.
And what's she doing with tweed in California?
I guess what I mean by tweed is like that, like Chanel kind of, but it wouldn't be Chanel the brand because that's too fancy.
It's just very.
Like
I know
grandma.
It's very thick. It's very itchy. It's very warm.
I know it's not tweed though. I wish it was tweed. It was just like basically knit, like a heavy feminine canvas stuff. Yeah, okay. She doesn't like the funky stuff. She wants like feminine on me.
Yeah,
specifically.
I feel like growing up here, it's got to be like cotton and polyester. That's all we can handle. I saw people wearing wool that night. Linen's
like
fine.
linen here, but I don't know how to iron linen.
I keep it wrinkled.
I can't sit in it.
Yeah,
it's rude.
Yeah, but that was really fun. That is fun. Now that I hear you say it, because you're not the first person to say that. They said that they're overwhelmed, and I guess improvisers and party, they don't really mix.
I know, and I realized I went in and I was like, I'm gonna make 5 new friends, and I got there and I was like, this is not the environment for meeting new people. It's the environment for being like, hey.
Good to see you.
Yeah. It was very fun. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, I think I might have the opposite. I might have had too much fun.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I was.
Did you make 5 new friends?
I made 2 new friends.
Sucks. I'm happy for you.
I'm sorry. It's not a competition.
It is for me.
Yeah, but it was also just nice to see people in a different environment. Because sorry to say, I love parties. I love dance floors. Invite me to them. I'm usually the person. And you might have heard me. I was like trying to wrangle people. Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, nice.
Standing around having a conversation, trying to make 5 new friends.
I understand.
Let's get on the dance floor where we can't hear each other and our ears.
I love that.
Hurt.
Great.
You know.
I'm glad that you were there for that.
Yeah. I'm sorry to try to pull away people that you could have met onto the dance floor.
That's okay. Hey, what are you gonna do? But it was fun. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. And also we run into each other quite a bit. A lot of times at Vidiots, a couple of times at other movie stores, other coffee shops.
What was he at? Oh, AMC.
AMC.
That was a dirty one because my boyfriend and I were there. We did double feature.
Anatomy of the Fall.
Middle of the day. We did Priscilla and then walked into that Anatomy of the Fall. Okay. And we got lunch at the AMC, so we got the 1.5 pound Bavarian pretzel, and it was really bad. So when I waved to you, I was like, "Don't look at us. We're eating a 1.5 pound Bavarian pretzel."
Yeah,
it was a pizza box pretzel.
It was yet again another different energy because you were like kind of, and I was like, oh hey, yeah.
You're not looking. No, yeah.
That was fresh.
Yeah, fresh.
You went into Anatomy of the Fall after Priscilla.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Y'all planned that double feature, that depressing double feature?
Not at all.
No.
I liked Anatomy of the Fall more.
Oh yeah. Well, Priscilla is great, but it was also just so heavy.
Vibe. Oh.
I just read the Britney book. Have you read the?
No, I want to listen to it. I haven't done that yet.
Well, just prepare. They're very similar in tone.
Yeah.
And in subject matter.
It's like Hollywood isn't healthy kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's almost like they take innocent young girls and they corrupt them and they exploit them and squeeze their souls out.
Squeeze their souls out.
But hey, we're here, baby.
What are we at?
This is our city. This is our town now. And Anatomy of the Fall. Wow, a lot of exposition, a lot of facts, a lot of details, a lot of arguing.
I love the French court system seems very fun. I don't want to go to court in France. I don't want to be accused of a crime, but they were just bouncing off each other.
I might cut that off in case you're ever in court. Now they have this, because apparently they'll use everything. They'll throw the whole book at you. And they're like, oh, in a podcast back in 2023, you said that you don't like the system. Why? Are you guilty?
I like it.
Are you guilty?
They're like, you liked us, so you want to be here, so therefore you murdered her on purpose. I'll be like, no, I didn't murder anybody.
I love that. Yeah, you can kind of like twist anything into like, oh yeah, you're guilty, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're innocent, huh?
It's crazy. It was good though.
It was really good. It was really eye-opening. And as far as like, I guess we're doing a movie review podcast. Yeah. As far as legal procedures go, you can't go wrong with this year's Anatomy of the Fall.
She's a cool actress too. It's my first time seeing her, but I know she's a big deal.
Yeah. Have you seen anything else recently?
Sure. I have that thing where you ask me direct questions and my mind goes blank. But I have seen movies, and one of them could be, I've just been watching Hallmark holiday movies. I've been watching any new holiday movie, but I'll think about it in an hour and I'll let you know.
I'm so sorry to put you on the spot like that. Let me
answer
look at
my
first.
Planner.
I'll answer first, and then you can choose. I saw Poor Things.
I haven't seen it yet.
Get to it. Get to it to the AMC. It's a very good movie. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. Everybody's great in it. Emma Stone's great. It's a small cast, so like everybody has a moment to like shine.
Yeah,
but she's great in it. Willem Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo.
I love Mark.
Yeah. And then do you see anything at Vidiots, or do you rent stuff at Vidiots?
I have seen movies there. I have not rented personally from there yet.
Oh wow.
I rent from Videotech.
Where's that?
Oh, it used to be in South Pasadena. Now it's in Highland Park. Highly recommend. It's a very cool movie rental store.
Videotech?
Yeah. VIDEOTHEQUE.
Oh, like a discotheque?
Yeah. When you like to dance.
And I like to dance. I'm gonna be there like, oh my gosh, I got Babe Pig in the City.
Stop renting movies, dance with me.
Yeah, guys, get on the dance floor.
Yeah.
How much is the movie there?
Couldn't tell you.
I feel like cheap. I'm really putting you on the spot.
Well, so when I say,
and where's the address, and how much is a video rental, and how much is membership?
I think
Answer
it's
the
like,
questions.
There's like, you can do a thing. It was like $20 for like 5 movies, kind of thing. It's not bad, and they have new releases too.
Mm-hmm.
They also have swag.
Swag, all right.
Yeah.
I've heard of that, and I've also heard of this one in Burbank. That's my team member Sean has been telling me to get on. I like renting movies. Like, it is good to like pay for it and sit down and like set time aside to like.
Also, you see stuff you wouldn't see I mean, for me, I don't like scour the archives for films I think would be cool, but like Videotech specifically has like director, country, actor, so you can just like be like, I love Christopher Walken, and you can go like the Christopher Walken section and be like, oh, I didn't know he did that movie.
They give him his own section.
Yeah, well, I can't say for sure if Walken has one, but Elaine May has one. Mike Nichols has one.
Yeah, I think it's cool because they say like people have like choice paralysis like on streaming services, and that's very true. I do get it, but weirdly enough, when you go to a video store, it's literally every movie. You don't feel the same.
Yeah,
it's because there's a tactile sensation to it. But like you do, like I can go to a movie store and I do pick out like a movie or two, like definitively. I don't sit there and be like, I don't know, what do I do?
It feels nice.
Feels really nice. Yeah. Do you get a bunch? You said you get a bunch at once. Or
like 5.
I gotta start doing that because Videos is a drive from here. It's like a 45 minutes.
This one's now in Highland Park, so I don't know if that's any closer. It's not really.
It might save me 10 minutes.
It might.
Yeah, but it is like a long drive to like, and I rent it and the drive all the way back.
Yeah, maybe you gotta just do it when you're like already in that neighborhood for some reason. Like you're going to Capri Club or you're going to Hermosillo, and then you're like, I guess I'll stop by.
I'm gonna get some more recs, but I'll give you some time and I can put you on the spot.
I can do restaurants and bars. I just can't do names of things like musicians or movies.
Let's talk improv.
Okay.
So the first segment of the podcast is gonna be Improvster Syndrome. So this is your opportunity to talk to us about your improv journey.
Sure.
How you got to where you are, and also more importantly, how you felt, because I'm sure most of our listeners were in your shoe. They are where your shoes were.
Got it.
Your past shoes or their current shoes. So I want to talk to you how you felt in those shoes.
Those shoes. Yeah, sure. So how I got here to this very comfy chair. I started doing improv in high school at Second City here, did the Second City teen troupe.
So sorry, you're LA native.
Yeah.
Oh.
Born and raised.
You know all the neighborhoods.
Yeah, I grew up in Los Feliz and then Pasadena. Yeah.
And you drove all the way to Second City, Hollywood.
Yeah, my mom signed me up for everything. So that was one of the many things I did. And I liked it from the get-go, but I didn't really love comedy until college. I went to Emerson and I got on a sketch comedy troupe, met all my best friends, and then was like, oh, screw acting, which I went to school for, like theater. I was like, I want to just do comedy acting.
This was the Emerson campus here or the one in
No, in
Boston?
Boston. Yeah.
So confusing. All right.
I mean, the campus here is just the LA program, I believe. And that's like a semester. It's like a study abroad kind of vibe.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So
yeah.
lived here, went there for college,
Yes.
came back.
Yes.
Did
Well,
you always?
I didn't even come back then. I went to Chicago.
Oh,
My
okay.
journey isn't over yet.
Okay. Then just to before we jump into the Boston chapter, as growing up, did you always, being around this industry, did you always want to do acting?
Yes. I was 9. I saw my god sisters on stage doing a performance of Grease, and I was like, Mom, I want to do that, apparently. And so then I started doing it.
And then your mom, does she know about, like, how does she know to put you in Second City
Yeah.
teen program?
So my mom is a screenwriter, and my dad was also, they both were actors in college. They both pursued that in New York and then came out here and both had industry adjacent jobs. And so I think just she probably Googled things to do. But second, I did like YADA, shout out to YADA, Youth Academy of Dramatic Arts in West Hollywood. And then Second City and Groundlings, I did as a teenager as well, just like the classes. Because she was just Googling and being like, sure, let's do it. Can our teen take that class? Go for it.
And how did you like it doing it? Because when you're a kid, I feel like your imagination's so, like, everything feels cool, everything feels real.
I'm super shy, so I don't remember it being I didn't feel like freer as a kid doing it, but I think I was more just like myself or just whatever my brain was thinking of in that moment. I feel like as I've learned more, I like try to do different things. But I remember in Groundlings, they were like, "You're so funny, just keep doing that," and I'd be like, "I can't keep doing this," but also doing it as like a 16-year-old with like 35-year-old.
Wait, why couldn't you keep doing it?
I don't know. I just kind of rambled about that. I am still, do you know what, I don't know if you know what I mean.
I've done Groundlings.
Oh no, I'm keeping doing Groundlings.
Yeah.
I just meant the like style that I was doing. I think of like performance as a 16-year-old has obviously changed, so I haven't stuck to it. Like keep doing that like that. I don't know what I'm saying about that.
But you enjoyed it then, I guess.
I did, yeah. I don't remember a lot of it. I was so nervous all the time. I always had a tummy ache, which I still do, and because I'm just like an introvert, I don't like people stress me out. But it was very fun, and I remember feeling very not like necessarily like I feel good at improv, but it was the most fun I'd have because I could just really be myself and be the weirder I was and the more myself I was as a weirdo was like seemed to be getting a better feedback from people
compared to like dramatic theater stuff.
Yeah. Where
like that face you made acting.
It's just not for. I have so many friends who love it so much, and whenever I talk to them about like their process, I'm like, oh, good for you. That's just not how I want to pursue. But I do love performing, so of course I want to act. I am an actor, but as far as like, I think there's different versions of being an actor. I fell in love with the idea of like bringing myself to roles instead of completely being like, and now I'm a master shoemaker and I only eat broccoli.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's always me as the thing.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Okay, great. So then you went over to Emerson and you said it was for
I went for theater school.
Okay.
I didn't get into the BFA because I wasn't very good, as I'm saying. I'm not a very good like actor, but I got into the BA program because I cried in my audition. And then
can you help me out because I don't know the theater word very well. What is the difference between a BFA and a BA in theater?
BFA is fancy conservatory style. A lot of the colleges that do BFA programs have cut systems. That's similar to how the improv world works, where you're like doing it for 2 years, and then after 2 years you have to be evaluated.
Yeah,
and just cut.
Like, sorry, honey, you don't got it.
You don't got the BFA anymore. Yeah. And so BA was more taking acting classes for the majority of your curriculum, but also taking playwriting or directing or science or whatever.
The science of theater.
Yeah, I'd love that. That sounds fun.
And how was your time there?
Good. I got into a comedy troupe my sophomore year, and then that's where I just stayed. I was very happy. That kind of helped my experience.
And this comedy troupe, you said they did sketch.
Yeah.
Did they also do improv?
No, we were just a sketch troupe, but we did some improv shows just for fun. But our shows were sketch.
Was this your first foray into writing then, or did you also write earlier?
I wrote plays in high school. But this is my first foray into writing sketch comedy.
How'd you like that?
I liked it. I liked performing in it a lot. I liked collaborating a lot. I love, yeah, it was like the perfect meld of theater and improv was sketch comedy because it's still spontaneous and can change. And
What was
yeah.
your performance schedule like? How often did they let you make you
What
perform?
was it? I think it was at least once a month. We met once a week, twice a week maybe. Yeah, we produced our own shows, directed our own shows in a little black box in the basement of a building. It's great. We're very popular.
How many people would come?
Everyone. It was a hit. Sold out every night.
Ooh,
Because
they
there's
were
only,
smash it.
I think now Emerson has like 30 comedy troupes because they added a comedy major. But at the time they didn't have that when I was there. And there were maybe 8 comedy troupes and all the shows were always very popular, which is very nice.
You were a pioneer. You paved
Yeah,
the way.
paved the way.
All those comedy programs, comedy major. Lilliana helped start that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so after college, so that was when you made the transition in your head. You're like, it's comedy, baby, all the way.
Yes. Yeah.
No more dramatic stuff.
I moved to Chicago to pursue the art of comedy.
And why did you choose Chicago? Like, what spurred that?
It's where improv was born, baby.
This is why she's the major. That's why she's a pioneer. You know about this. Did your friends all go with you, or did you just a solo trek?
It was a solo trek. I had a friend who was from Chicago and he passed when I was in college, and so it kind of inspired me of like, I'm doing it for him. And also I knew that I could always come back to LA. I like got the call, you know how the Groundlings program works. I got the call back when it was a call my senior year, like your spot in writing lab has opened. And I was like, I'm going to Chicago. Also, side note, since we're on Zoom, I always do this for improv phone because I'm an improviser.
Yeah.
But I've recently been starting to do this and it's freaking me out.
Is everything okay?
No.
Did you get a new phone?
I don't know.
A new headset?
And I have to hold like this. It's embarrassing. I remember I used to roast people in my head for doing improv scenes and being like, hello. And I was like, that's not how you hold a phone.
That's how you pantomime a phone. So
I know, but it's not how you hold. That's not how you space work a phone.
Are we dramatic actors?
But I've been doing this these days.
You got 2 phone lines. She's been holding up 2 phones.
But yeah,
so I gotta put you on hold. Yeah, sorry. Look, I gotta pick up my kid later. I got a lot of things to do.
Yeah, so I said, no, thank you, writing lab. I'm going to Chicago and starting over in their program.
Was it a recording or was it a person?
It was a human being.
Okay.
I think I said, thank you, I'll let you know. I was like, I have to go. I felt it in my bones, and I did, and it was very fun. I highly recommend.
So, Chicago, early 20s. Tell us about that.
Oh God, the 1920s were crazy. It was great. It was I did IO first because they had a summer program where you could do the first 3 levels in a month, and it was a great way to meet people and like it was like summer camp for improv. Mm-hmm. I had a cousin that lived there, so I got to live with her, and I have to still pay her back or buy her something really fancy because she was the nicest to me. It was great, and I did IO, got on a Herald team, and then started branching out to Second City. Never did Annoyance. I did classes, but I wasn't cool enough for Annoyance.
In my own classes, don't worry, you got her money.
Annoyance is where it's at as far as cool kid comedy.
With a name like The Annoyance, I totally see why.
McNapier, best book on improv.
So you went through the program. How you did a summer intensive. I guess how challenging or how tough was it? Because I know you said you did it before. Was it kind of like, oh, this is in my bones, or was this like, this is Chicago. There's so much more competitive here. Like, what was that feeling?
Chicago's so much nicer. It's Midwest. It's chiller. Everything moves slower. I remember I moved there and I always like to have a plan. So I was like, I'll be here for 3 years and then move back to LA with something. And then I got there. I said, oh, Chicago takes longer. I'm probably going to be here for 6 years. And I was. Because everything just moves at a slower pace as far as, I don't know, it's just not as bing bang boop as LA. But I think it was my first time learning the Herald. So in that sense, it was new for my brain. But the yes and stuff, I knew that.
And was it also your first time doing long form, or had you done long form before?
I guess it was my first time doing long form. I took classes over the summer at UCB, maybe in college. No, I think I did a musical improv class once. But yeah, this might be my first time doing long form improv. That doesn't feel right, but I guess it is. But I did it at Emerson with my friends because I never was very good at short form improv. It's my story. That's the answer I'm going to stick with for now.
Okay.
Yes.
So sounds like you took to it very well.
No. Okay. So in college, we had long form improv teams. And also I'd seen long form improv shows. And I So I did long form improv as like in my own spare time organically. That's my first time doing it on a curriculum.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm guessing too, probably your first time getting like noted or evaluated, because I guess most of the times college don't really do that, right? College teams.
Well, yeah, we wouldn't give each other. We actually might have given each other notes, which is a bad habit. But in high school, I would get notes all the time from
Oh, that's right.
Groundlings or
Oh,
yeah.
Groundlings in Second City. Yeah.
Second City, I don't remember any
They'll
notes.
give you notes.
Besides, I was hosting one night. I still regret this to this day because I got in trouble. I was hosting the teen troupe show, and I had a nervous stomach, as I still do. And I was eating a power bar because I was so afraid my stomach was going to gurgle, like make hungry noises on stage. And I didn't finish my power bar in time, so I started hosting with half a power bar in my mouth. And my teacher was really mad at me.
That's so funny.
They were very disappointed in me. They said never
Such
again.
such a narrow-minded idea of what comedy
Also,
is.
I was 16.
I think a 16-year-old with a half chewed power bar
Like,
hosting.
welcome to Second City's teen troupe. Sorry, I'm chewing.
Yeah, that's funny. Wow.
Yeah, I did it on purpose.
That's some of that new. Look, purpose or not, I think that's funny, and that's something you could use. And for people to be like, "That's not funny. Funny is not eating nothing but broccoli for 6 months." That's like.
It was fun though, because everyone in my class besides me was a kid actor who had like moved here and lived in an apartment in Burbank with their mom, while the rest of the family was somewhere else, trying to make it on the big screen.
I see.
Yeah.
And you really.
I was just hanging out, eating my power bar.
Yeah, they're like, take it seriously. You're hosting my showcase here.
I was happy to be there. Always honored. But yeah.
So what was it like being on a Herald team in IO?
It was great. And now that I'm a part of UCB, they're very different. It's more organic. It's more artsy fartsy. It's more theater. It's mostly time dash, same characters, but it was great. And it was such a fun. I was so lucky. My graduating class before I got on a Herald team, the final level, we were the last ones to perform our like graduation Herald show in the old space. It was like a very cool in Wrigleyville, 2 theaters, just great comedy clubhouse vibes. And then we were the first ones to perform in the new space, which is a giant warehouse next to a Whole Foods. But IO is a great community, and it feels like everyone in Chicago does it. So it was the perfect way to meet everybody. Everyone was so nice, and there were so many shows all the time, and they had a great bar, and it was just like where everyone just went to hang out every night, no matter what. It was great.
Met a lot of Chicago improvisers out here that come from that, and like I've heard nothing but good things about IO, which is like so ironic because you talk about any other place and people usually have like, let me give you some of the dirty laundry.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it was a really great time in your life, really good community.
Yeah, I won't ever speak bad about IO until on camera and on microphone until I've made it big in Hollywood.
That is true. Yeah, I've mostly been asking people while they're recorded on camera and on a mic. So maybe the real juice happens once you turn off the record button.
No, everyone who comes from there, especially now that people are in LA, whenever I see someone who was in Chicago, even if we weren't friends, it's just such a warmth and just like, it's so nice to see you. How are you? Cool.
So you were there for 6 years. Tell me about those last couple of years.
Yeah. So I did IO Herald team. Again, loved it. I loved my first Herald team. We were together for 3 years. And then I hosted some shows there. And then I did Second City because I was the only theater in town that paid at the time. I don't know who pays now. So I did Second City and then got put on. I was an understudy for the touring company. And then I got on the touring company. So I did that for 2 years and traveled the world, the state, the Americas.
Yeah. Give me some famous memories, some states you went to.
Well, big towns, small towns. I remember loving. This is it. Oh, we went to Sun Valley once.
Sun Valley,
so
California.
bougie. No, Utah.
Oh,
California.
Okay.
Couldn't even tell you. I have to Google it, but I don't have my phone. Sun Valley. I don't want to get into this, but it's yeah. Please Google it for me. It's not in California. It's a ski town, and if it is, I'd be humiliated. And it was like a small plane to get into it, and you had to fly down into the valley. I'll wait till you Google.
Idaho.
Idaho. That's kind of like Utah.
It took me so long to find that.
No, I really appreciate it. I appreciate it. But that was really cool because it was so fancy, and they offered you a glass of wine on the plane, just because you were going to Sun Valley, and just some beautiful, like Dayton, Ohio is really pretty, and then bigger towns. Though I won't speak ill on camera about Indiana, but if I could, I might. But yeah. Anyways, it was fun.
So tell me about the shows that you would do at the touring company. Were these sketch shows, improv shows, combo?
Sketch and short form.
Sketch and short form.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So all of our shows were mostly a mix of archive sketches, new sketches that we would write as a team or touring company, and then some short form games here and there. Like
and then you get to dust off your short form skills. That's so funny. You said you're not very good, and turns out, lo and behold, you were a touring company member.
No, it's just not my preferred cup of improv. I like the long form stuff to watch, to do. Yeah.
Fair enough, which is what you're doing now.
Yeah.
So what was the impetus to move back? Or did you move back? Was there another city after this?
No, that was it. And then I moved back in August 2019. And
pourquoi?
Just I felt like I could have stayed for 3 more years or moved to LA. And I just, LA was always where I wanted to end up, or at least go next. And so I thought it was the right time.
You miss your mom.
No, she doesn't live here.
I don't know why I did that.
I love it. But no, they moved to Maine.
So they moved to Portland, Maine.
I didn't come home for them.
Oh, wow. They're finally gone. So you're like, you know what?
It's my town. My town.
This is my city now.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought I'd come back because I love Chicago so much. There's not a lot of job opportunities as far as like TV writer. And the shows are cool, but it's a lot of Chicago Fire, Chicago Med. And then the very cool ones like HBO would shoot or Showtime.
Wait, those are shot and produced on location?
Yeah, in Chicago.
I didn't know that.
The closest I ever got to booking a TV role to this day is when I was very like mid-20s, and it was for a 19-year-old kidnapped girl in a cage.
How's your cage work?
Apparently I got pinned. I was the last runner up. So it was me crying about a man talking to me on Facebook and like kidnapping me. And I don't mind that I didn't book it because I don't think it's my vibe.
And who knows what your career trajectory would have been if you did book it. You would have been doing, you've been typecasted as cage girl, kidnapped girl living in the basement.
I just can't imagine my little face in a cage. I'm very lucky that I'm not dealing with that.
If you're ever going to do any improv with her, or if you were watching the show, please don't put her in a cage. Please don't yell at the suggestion cage because she's left that life behind her.
It was fun. It was funny though. I feel like it was the same with my Emerson theater audition. Of just cry a little bit while you're doing a monologue.
Are you good at crying?
I can cry
on demand.
I just cry all the time, so I think it's always pretty present.
Oh, it's like Bruce Banner. That's my secret cap. I'm always crying. Okay.
One of my Herald team recently said, and I think it was a kind twist on what could be a diss, was like, your emotions are always very at the ready. I was like, yes, they are. They actually are. Thank you.
I feel like that's a compliment. I'll take it as a compliment. I guess it depends on your relationship with your emotions. Like if somebody told that to me, because I very rarely access it, I'd be like, thank you so much. I've been working on that actually. But if you're like always emotional, you're like, why would you call me out on that? Why would you say that in front of everybody? The whole team's listening.
I think it's a good, I think my favorite word right now in improv is like reframing. And it was a good reframe of something that I could think is a bad quality. It's like, no, like you're always very in touch. I'm like, thank you. Great.
I used to have I used to be on this practice group with this like professional dramatic actress, and that was always like their move. Whenever
just to cry in improv scenes, that sucks.
Well,
Unless it was good.
It was good. Well, it was good crying, and then it's all that's how you reframe it, So it would always happen. And look, I was also guilty. Sometimes I'm quick to anger. I'm quick to like confronting it. It's like, why do you always, whatever the weird thing is, why do you always put yourself in a cage? Why are you always in a cage? And then she started crying, and I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. No, if you want to play in the cage, go ahead. I'm an asshole. What's it to me if you want to be in your little cage?
Yeah.
So I think it worked in that sense. It was a good little challenge, but it was just like oh wow, to take it to that 10 is for the voice of reason is really like important to be like, oh, you gotta be ready at any moment to back down. Because
I mean, good for them. I just always worry about the audience, and I know it's a practice group, but still just you want to make sure that they know you're okay. If it's a real cry, it's like, oh, maybe we're not safe right now.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Whoa, you're right. Then phew, I'm glad that happened in a practice group. Otherwise, the optics of it is a man yelling at
it's just a lot to put on you.
Young improviser at her cry. But then afterwards, like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine.
That's wild. Wow. I've never had someone in an improv scene fully actually cry. It's always just, comedy cry, where no water comes out.
Give it a chance. Hey, Herald Night's coming up.
Yeah.
That's always coming up. But
hey, don't cut me. I can cry on stage.
That would be, I don't know. if you ever have like a half idea, like I don't have to do it, you start crying. I would love to see how the audience and how the team reacts to that.
Okay.
It could be like that's
Just start crying.
it could be like one of those like those little kids sports movies where it's like, wait, that's your secret power. We just won the championship.
Fantastic. All right,
Yeah.
here we go. I will say, as far as Chicago to LA, at least maybe people who are also in Chicago got this and I just didn't from IO's program. Like the Voice of Reason odd unusual one is not something that we're taught. So that's been a big mind shift for me, is like, okay, fitting that. Because I think mostly it's peas in a pod, or it's not just the game isn't so game forward in IO.
Yeah, I've noticed that from Chicago folks. Sometimes they're both a little weird, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it'll be like, what are you talking about? Why would you do that?
We do love that voice.
Get out of the cage. We gotta bake these cookies for the colonel.
Gotta break these cookies for the colonel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's never baking cookies for a customer. It's always for
the colonel.
For the president of the United States.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's
sorry
really
to bust out my Chicago improviser impression.
Wow. Yeah. Brings me back.
Let's take the L train.
That's a train.
You want to go see the Cubs game with me?
It's probably just take the L.
I'm hungry. You want to go to Portillo's?
Okay, you're offending my people.
No, your people's Californians.
True. Which, yeah, we can take it out here.
Yeah, let's do some California specifics just to even things up, you know?
Yoga, smoothies.
Hey, can I borrow your goat for goat yoga? My goat's at the shop.
Yeah, my goat's at the shop.
Here's the thing. I think Californians have a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
About ourselves. I guess Chicagoans don't.
They do. That voice was graining on me.
I'd like to apologize on behalf of all Chicagoans. All right, so coming back to LA, what was that like? Did you have old friends that you could reconnect with, or was it kind of clean slate?
Oh yeah, so all my college buddies were already here. I was the only person that went to Chicago, and so they were all here, hang out. But then the pandemic happened, so put a little pause on that, and then pandemic's over. Audition for UCB, got on a Herald team, which is so great.
What'd you do during the downtime between 2019 and 2023?
Well, I stayed in Pasadena inside, had some therapy breakthroughs, went off an anxiety med. Yeah, went for walks. What did I actually do in that time? Oh, I worked for a nonprofit. I didn't get my footing in LA until before the pandemic. So once it happened, it was kind of like, okay. And then once everything opened up again, I got to actually kind of explore and get to be part of the community.
Sure. Yeah. And that sounded like plenty. That sounded like you did plenty.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I made food for myself. My favorite dish was just pesto with broccoli.
Ooh.
The broccoli really, really, really roasted. And that's about it.
Some burnt ass broccoli.
Yeah.
Some roasted ass broccoli.
Yeah.
A little garlic in there? Salt?
Sure.
Oh, you don't have to. I'm just asking. I'm curious.
I didn't at the time. No.
You didn't at the time?
No.
So it was just.
I've mentioned my stomach at least 100 times because it's on my mind. And I just can't eat a lot of stuff. So I'm not very adventurous.
Okay.
With my own cooking. So I'm just like, let's just do something easy so I feel better.
Yeah. Some steamed, roasted broccoli.
Yeah. Charred broccoli.
Pesto sauce.
Some pasta and some pesto.
You make it yourself or you get it from
the pasta?
Yeah, pesto sauce.
I got it from Trader Joe's.
Okay.
At the time. Pesto? Yeah. I haven't had it in a while because I'm not supposed to have. This is so boring. We shouldn't get into it. There's nothing fun here. Nothing fun in this pesto journey.
This is not a fun podcast. Even though it's about improv, this is all about gastrointestinal ailments.
I wish.
All right, so let's talk about things reopening. Let's talk about
Sure.
the weeks leading up to the big audition. First of all, nobody knew that it was coming. Nobody thought it would come back. We thought UCB was over. And all of a sudden, big comeback, big announcements. We're going to be opening up Harold and Lloyd auditions this year. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Where were you when you got that email?
I think someone in. Oh, so what I did was I took before the pandemic in the August to December, I did all levels of UCB, graduated. So
Well, you did them over.
No, in person before the pandemic happened.
Oh, over yeah.
As soon as I moved back, I did 201, 301, 401.
How was that?
It was fun.
I'm always so curious about that because I talked to some other people that have had that same experience, but like once you've done not only IO's program, but also done Harold's, I feel like coming here, it is kind of like learning to like write with your left hand now, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I
It
know how
was
to do this,
interesting.
but this is wonky.
I have done every program and I definitely don't need to, but I just know about myself. I love the structure of a curriculum, like going through the classes and then graduating makes me feel good. Like I'm like, you know what, I'll just do it. Because there's ways to like, I could have moved here from Chicago and just put myself out there and been talented and done shows and not have taken the classes and still maybe gotten to one day hopefully perform on the UCB stage. But I just know myself well enough that my brain works best. I'm just like, I'll just do it. I'll take their classes. I'll learn. I'll do it their way. That's what I did in Second City. That's what I did. Because in Second City in Chicago, you could just get invited to audition versus take the classes and graduate.
Plus, you already did it in LA.
Yeah, but I did the whole thing. I did all the way up the levels. Anyways, that's a side note about how different ways to do it, but it was fun. I like rules, and I feel like UCB is a lot more structured than IO, so I'm open to it. It just seems like a really fun way for everyone to get on the same page. And if you're all working from the same rule book, then you can have more fun with the actual content. Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right about that. Like different people have different ways to handle things. I think I'm like you. I like the formal education, I like the classes.
Yeah.
I think in addition to all like the actual like learning and the reps though, like it's a good way to network with people.
Yeah.
I'm not good about the other thing. I'm not good about going to a show like, hey, you're really funny. I'm funny too if you want to check me out sometime.
I know. It's just not in my bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're like, we took a class together and you're like,
Yeah.
hey, remember me from 201?
Yeah.
Remember we went to Portillo's after class?
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's perfect. I made friends. I had a little indie team for a hot second when the pandemic happened. And then when stuff was reopening, the pack opened 1st. And so I did the pack audition and got on a team. And that was super fun and made friends there. We still performed together. And yeah, and then UCB opened up.
You also did shared experience.
Yeah, Herald
Herald
experience.
experience. Yeah.
That was really fun.
That's where we first met.
Yeah, it was such a great thing. I forget how I even got. Oh, I think I just DM'd somebody, and they're like, "Yeah, come on down. You're on the list." And I was like, "Oh, thank you so much," because I think it was at the Broadwater where the pack is, and so it was great to also attempt to meet people. And I met at least 5, which is my goal always, meet 5 friends, which I've now realized about myself. But yeah, it was great. And then I think someone on my pack team must have like sent us the screenshot of UCB being like, auditions are up, y'all. And then I remember I got the notification that they were like open when I was getting my hair cut, and they were shampooing my hair, and I was typing with my phone like, my name is Lilliana Winkworth, and I'd like to audition for a Herald team, with the whole Google form.
Yeah. And then they were like, can you please stop moving? I'm trying to.
I was just so nervous it was going to close before I had the chance to sign up.
You're like, just a second, I gotta write down
what
my
most
favorite
important
UCB
one of my
team
life.
is.
Yeah.
So you've kind of conquered all the summits. You've IO, Second City, UCB, all that done now. What is that like? What perspective do you have you can get offer for other folks, or like maybe anybody who is thinking about climbing up one of these hills?
Yeah.
What would you have to say?
I say, as far as thinking about the hills, definitely do one at a time. I think when I was doing like IO and Second City at the same time, it was a little tough because it's just a lot of classes. And then also go see shows and go to the theater that you like the shows the most of. Like pay for the shows you want to perform and not what you think is the best theater, maybe.
Yeah. That's really good. Not to call out any of my previous guests, but I will now. Yeah, like I don't think enough people are expressing that. Some of them have, but not. It should be in every episode. Everybody should be talking about going to see shows because like 1, you're voting with your dollar, but 2, you're also forming your taste.
Yeah, and also I think especially in LA, Chicago's different because it's a lot smaller. Public transit is a little more accessible, or there's more stops. I'm very, very, very quick to not judge Los Angeles public transit because I have never really relied on it. And the one time I took the bus was actually pretty easy. Anyways, but yeah, so Chicago, everyone was kind of doing everything. Everyone knew everybody. Here, LA is so isolating. It can be so hard to live. It's super expensive. And whenever someone asks me, like, I'm thinking of going to LA, I think I'm thinking about doing improv. I'm just like, cool. There are certain theaters where like you are doing it to make friends. Certain theaters do it to get famous. Certain theaters are doing it to, I don't know, the third option. And I think UCB is really great for making friends, because I thought like the fact that they're like, make a practice group immediately and rehearse is so great, because then you're always together. You're going to see shows for class. And then Groundlings is amazing. I do see it as more of like an actor training program.
Yeah.
And I think once you're higher up in the levels, you have that kind of camaraderie because you're just like in the trenches together. And then I've never experienced Second City and I out here as an adult. I don't think IO's coming back, is it? Bye. But
IO.
yeah, that's it. I think UCB is just, I think it's a great community builder. So I always recommend it.
Yeah.
People that are like to look into just make friends and like be part of the scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's coming from an LA native here. All the harshest criticism. It's isolating, it's far away. But it is true. Like,
well, it's just like, and not in a criticism way, it's just a very hard city to live in as an adult, especially if you're here without a base of friends already and you're just hoping to make friends as an adult. It's terrifying.
Yeah, and it's hard. And I used to I saw I'm from Orange County, but coming up to here as an adult, like I always found it was a little bit cliquey, but now I realized like, oh, people, that's not them being cliquey, that's them afraid and insecure to spread out. So
also the pack is great. I feel like the pack
is another really good community where
it's so great.
They're much more like they just like UCB, they really encourage people to get together and they encourage you to see each other's shows and hang out. So they got a bar.
Yes, they do.
So
we love the plunge.
Shout out to the Broadwater Plunge.
Ow. Good cocktails. And that one glass of like $9 sparkling wine is totally fine.
And plenty of seating. There's a bathroom.
It is a cute bar.
It is guys, if there's anything we can impart you with today, it's to go to the Broadwater Plunge. If you want to make friends, that's the place to make it.
And for no other reason, just because I'm here on your very comfy chair, I'm also going to plug See What Sticks. It's awesome. Do you know See What Sticks? It's a very, very cool workshop program. They just had their gala, and it's free for performers, and it's not improv, but it is for playwriting, sketch writing, stand-up, storytelling. And you just go on their See What Sticks Instagram, go to their Google form, sign up for a workshop, and you just get to like go and perform your piece and get feedback from the audience that's there, and it's great.
That's great. It's kind of like a theater or like a arts like open mic.
Yeah, it's really wonderful, and the people that run it are amazing, and everyone's like killing it in the industry, and they're all super, super nice. And like once you do it once, you're like part of the family.
Where's that?
It was at Lyric. I'm not sure where it is right now, but their gala was just at Broadwater, which is why I thought of it.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, I'll put up the link and you'll find out. We'll see where sticks. Yeah. See what sticks where they stick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for walking us through your Improvster journey, your improv journey. Lots of different cities, lots of different spaces. So incredible. Okay, we're gonna jump into our next segment now, which is going to be our topic of the week. And I'm really glad you picked this one, especially for someone who's been doing a lot of improv now. This is really important to talk about. Improv Aftercare. Pretty much what you do and how you take care of yourself after an improv show, or maybe even an improv class. We can talk about that. But I feel like this is where there's a lot of different answers. I kind of want to just tackle all of them, maybe ones that we've done or maybe ones that we've seen. Yeah. And how that can affect us and our state of being. It's interesting. I think it really hit me the first Herald night, I think, or the first couple, where I'd wake up on Tuesday so anxious and so drained, because I think I was putting so much of myself out there for like Herald night and then Birds after, and just being back in that space, especially post-pandemic, of the buzz of it and like the crowds and trying to make 5 new friends at Birds. Yeah, so I remember waking up like on a Tuesday, I was like, why am I so depressed? Oh, it's probably because I exerted a lot of energy last night. So for those of you that don't know, UCB is located right next to a bar called Birds. And the tradition, I guess the usual thing is people go there before shows, after shows, and for Herald night, especially after you do your Herald set, people go to Birds and they sit around, they socialize and they talk. But it is a setting that a lot of people may not be comfortable in or familiar with. I love Birds. But I love Birds too, and I will say this, like as I was talking earlier, how I'm a bit of a social butterfly. I so jealous. Me, a glass of alcohol in my hand and a table. If I could drink beer, I think I'd be better at socializing. I can't drink beer, and wine sometimes at bars isn't good. Sorry, Birds. And so I just drink Negronis, and then I get trashed by 2 drinks, and I have to go home. Wow, Negronis. Or I could just not drink. That could be also an option. I mean, and you don't have to. And that's one of the things I want to talk about. Like, so I guess let's start there. Actually, let's start there with just the chemical aftercare. Yeah. So again, I think it's very common grabbing drinks after watching a show, grabbing drinks after a class, grabbing drinks after whatever. Alcohol.
Yeah.
This is gonna become an
It's
anti-alcohol,
crazy, especially
especially in LA.
especially in Chicago,
Oh,
because
okay.
public transit,
I was gonna say the opposite. LA,
colder.
LA is
Oh,
dangerous because most people here we don't have public transit. People are driving more.
yes.
So that's why I was gonna say on the one hand, LA very dangerous, but if you're in Chicago, let's talk about
Oh.
binge drinking.
I just think Chicago, I would say, I don't think people would disagree super hard. Drinking's a big part of the culture,
Mhm.
especially the comedy scene in Chicago. And I think LA, because it is that stereotypical healthier lifestyle, it's not as upfront about drinking as much as in one go. But yeah, I remember in Chicago, like if you did a show, you got a drink at the bar comped. And so that was just kind of like, okay, we go to the bar, I get one free, let's keep going. And then LA, I do think
IO had a bar, right? That's
Second City had
also
a bar.
huge factor.
Yeah. We could go to the bar in the kitchen of Second City and grab our drink like as the show was wrapping up. Uh, which was always felt like a movie star. But
You know how
yeah,
movie stars always going into kitchens?
go into the staff kitchen and grab a free glass of high big pour wine
Yeah.
in a tiny glass. No, I think drinking and comedy we go hand in hand. I think it's the nightlife, it's the culture, it's the depression, it's the
Yeah.
insecurity, it's the two drinks you have to get at the improv or the comedy store or whatever stand up is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
I
so
guess
it's
it's just
hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you can plan your night around it, like if you are gonna go see a show at the comedy store, you kind of plan your night around it. Maybe you'll get a heavy dinner beforehand, get an Uber there, right? But when it
Yeah.
comes to improv, like you can't really plan for that
Yeah.
every 2 weeks.
No, it's crazy. And also, if you're going to see someone else's show, like you're
Yeah.
going to Herald Night every week and seeing the shows, it's just that for me, it's like the anxiety of like, okay, you want to have something in your hand and also a social lubricant of,
Social lubricants
yeah,
a big factor.
yeah. But I do think we're living in an age where more people are being like, no, I'm actually sober. And then also CBD drinks and all those fun social tonics. I'm trying to experiment more with those
Yeah.
that are not actual alcohol drinks.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing to point out. Like,
Yeah.
I am glad that like in 2023, hopefully people feel this. It's more okay to like not drink or
Yeah.
and hopefully we're also getting to an age where we won't like pressure anybody.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't feel pressured. If anybody gives you a hard time, hey, send them to my way. Then
Yeah.
I'll give them a talking to.
I will say also with ECB, personally, I think part of my anxiety was like, okay, like have a glass of wine before a show, like in Chicago,
Mhm.
and then like at IO in the bar before, and now here I'm like, actually, I'd really would love to be clear headed for my Herald because I have to really pay attention.
Yeah, it's
Because
also
it's so much, it's just more math.
yeah, maybe it's not the case in Chicago, but I feel like here coming up, it's always been frowned upon to
Yeah.
be under any influence.
Oh,
of
I mean, I would
anything.
hope it again, even talking about this, I feel kind of like I'm gonna get in trouble. But yeah, it's just it
Even
feels
though the green
different.
room's full of alcohol, they always encourage you not to drink before.
Yeah, it does seem like UCB. I didn't know UCB before this, but it does not. It seems like it's not because there's no bar there. There's no open there's no bar you can just get before the show.
Mhm.
Yeah, but drinking stuff and then you have a hangover the next day,
Yeah,
which then adds to the social anxiety that you feel.
yeah, and I think there's something to this as well. Like, you don't, you want to associate your memories or your experiences with improv as in a positive way. If you're
Yeah,
ending every single night, with the stomach ache and you wake
yeah,
up with a hangover, you may end up having a negative association with
yeah,
this. Like your body remembers things better than your head does, so you may start to have like a aversion to to Verge and aversion to UCB, which you don't want to have to build up.
no,
But that being said, yeah, if you want to have fun, I'm not going to knock it. But in terms of aftercare, take care of yourself. And that's how you take care of yourself.
yeah.
And go for it. That's not how you take care of yourself. Don't go for
I
it.
think a big thing as far as this whole conversation about drinking or what you were doing before or after a show is just for me, I tend to lose what's actually good for me in service of trying to like fit the vibe or fit the mood. And so maybe the takeaway is just take care of yourself, number one, always.
I like that.
Don't let birds or UCB or the social scene make you do something that you know you won't like tomorrow.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
change yourself. Because
Yeah.
again, I'm a person that does do that. So it's like, yeah, it's actually not a big deal. But
It's so
don't change yourself.
Yeah.
Conversely, I wouldn't go to like a bait and tackle shop after an improv show because that's not me.
Yeah. And also
And if you do that, like no judgment. And I will come with you, but I won't partake in the fishing or the bait and tackle.
I think also the difference between LA and Chicago for me has been in Chicago, younger, everything's new. This is my family now. like Herald team was like, we're all best friends. We're gonna go camping every weekend.
Yeah.
This is it. And then get on a Herald team here, I felt that immediate, like, okay, these are my new 7 best friends. And I'm like, oh wait, we're all adults with our own lives now. And this is kind of more of a working relationship. And we can also be friends, and kind of removing that.
Yeah, some people got like partners to go home to.
Yeah.
And like
Kids. Crazy.
and dogs.
So
The
many
neediest.
Yeah. And so just being like, okay, cool. You can't just, it's not, I'm 32 now, I'm not 22. So it's different than being like, okay, let's stay out all night. It's just me and my Herald team. It's like, no, take care of yourself. You have a home, you have a job.
The next thing I want to talk about, kind of in line with birds, but it can also manifest itself in different ways, is food.
I love food.
So many people love to reward themselves or treat themselves after an improv show or after a thing, you know?
I was gonna say that, as far as, I think there's something for me that's always been very comforting for anxiety. It's like, yeah, I'll get a drink, or at Birds, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get chicken fingers. And so just having that thing that you don't have to drink, but you can order chicken fingers.
Yeah. And what I was gonna say though is, like similar to the whole, the alcohol thing, a lot of times people will use food as like a reward thing. And I used to do this. I try not to do this anymore, but my whole thing used to be, I'm not gonna have dinner. I'm gonna, because like I don't want to perform on a full stomach. I don't want to burp. I also have weird stomach stuff, you know. So I'm gonna go out there with an empty stomach, so that way nothing weird is gonna catch me off guard. And at the end of the night, I'm gonna reward myself of doing a great show, a great set. Let me get some food afterwards. But a lot of times that will leave me. And again, no knock on anybody's food preferences, but like that's fried chicken.
Yeah.
Right. That is chili or a burger.
Yeah.
Or that is fast food if we're not near a sit down, or if all those sit down restaurants are closed down.
Yeah.
So that would inadvertently make me make poor like eating choices. Now I'm trying to like eat dinner before, like cook my own food and be healthy about it. But I will say I'm pretty sure what I'm saying is like ringing home with a lot of people. A lot of people are like after classes, after shows, after practice, probably going out, which is great. But I don't know. Some people can get away with eating a burger a week. Some people can't.
No, absolutely not. I can't even imagine eating a burger a week. Also, just the money is so like, the money that we're spending on classes, on costumes if you're doing like sketch comedy or wigs, and then also on being social, because being social is such a humongous part of the comedy scene, because you make friends and then you get to do their shows, or they do your shows. And so you're just, the investment you're putting in at these chicken tenders or burgers that don't even make you feel good, just a lot to factor in. It's hard not to get wrapped up in it and be like, oh, I lost $100 this week again at Herald Night.
Right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, every Monday, you're like, my spending is good. I've been trying to save up real good, but I come around to the night of my show, all of a sudden it's like a big dip. What's going on?
Because like dinner before with your team, or dinner after, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's, a lot of this is, now that I hear you say it, it is a lot of social pressure, a lot of peer pressure. That's what this episode's really about.
That's how I see the world.
Yeah.
Social pressure.
But it is a fair thing, especially coming into, gosh, this is getting more serious than I thought. These young transplants, and they replace their family life and their social dynamics with their improv teams. All of a sudden, because you're mixing up with people with different levels and different means, and some people, hey, I go out and get burritos every week, or every night.
I do feel like things seem to be getting more transparent and healthier as I get older and people get younger. So hopefully it's all chilling out, but it's just a lot.
Yeah.
Because you want to stay out, you want to be there, you want to be the people that people think of as like the fun one. Yeah.
And you know who I think is the most fun?
Who?
Person with a box of steamed broccoli and water bottle that they brought from home. That's cool. Let's bring
Stinking up the green room.
Stinking up the green room.
Yeah.
Let's bring back just hanging, vibing on your, like bring your own vibe to it.
I know. Whenever I see someone who's like really just living in their truth and their own vibe, I'm like, oh, good for them. But
that's what we like. That's more admirable.
It's so hard not to get wrapped up in what you think people want from you.
Yeah. Do you think? How about this? Let's zoom out even further. Then, do you think, in terms of from an aftercare perspective, is it healthy to hang out with your team afterwards?
Yes.
Okay.
I think going whole hog the other way would be awful. Like just being like, "Hi guys, I'm here half an hour before call. Okay, I'm leaving right after notes. Thank you." Like, no, you want, because also I think part of it is understanding what is good for you, setting those boundaries just within yourself to be like, I know that I shouldn't drink after 8 p.m. or I know I should eat dinner before and I'll have a healthy dinner so I don't have a tummy ache. Even though it's so fun to just be spontaneous. Also in improv, it's all about being in the moment, spontaneous. And so it's hard to like pre-plan your improv self-care.
Yeah.
But
I think those boundaries are important though. I
yeah.
think it's an important thing to like bring up. I think we talked about boundaries a lot in other topic, but in terms of the social aspect, it should be brought up.
Yeah.
I do agree that it's healthy because I mean, at the end of the day, you're supposed to like the closer you are with your team, the more you socialize, the better your art.
It shouldn't be a hard, fast rule either way. It's
Yeah.
like if you were like, I have a big day tomorrow, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Great show. Great. And then also if you want to hang out for like a single sparkling water or a single drink, great. I think just don't feel, but also some people are extroverts and they get recharged by being with people. So
I think it's about like recognizing and maybe again setting up those limits of like, you know what, talk about it like, hey, we're gonna hang out before.
Yeah.
Then you need to realize, am I gonna eat with them? Am I gonna eat without them? You kind of need to know your own, body and your own like parameters. So you'll eat dinner before and you'll sit with them and maybe get like a iced tea or something.
Yeah.
Or same thing afterwards. Like that you have an early day tomorrow. I'll hang out for 45 minutes, but at the strike of 11, I gotta go home. Because I've been in the opposite. I am one of those extroverts that you're speaking of.
I can tell.
I'm
Social
pretty
butterfly.
sure everyone can tell.
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever met me. But I get recharged from other people, and there have been situations where I say I gotta go home, and I'm talking until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Or like, and it's not even at the bird. It's not even like sometimes it'll just be like outside of the clubhouse, and then like there's like 3 people when we're all talking, and all of a sudden it's like 3 a.m. You lose track of time.
Yeah.
Because it feels good, and it's also really talking about improv in this community. A lot of times people just need someone to talk to, and it's nice to offer that to people. But at what cost and at what expense?
Yeah. I think in Chicago, the comedy scene was my entire life. Mm-hmm. I had a job, but everyone at that job had their own comedy scene or theater scene. We were all like not actually.
Everyone in Chicago does comedy.
Everyone, truly. Well, I worked at a gym as a front desk associate.
Oh, that place is a breeding ground for comedians.
But it was all actors or musicians or comedians, and so everyone was still focused on their life. And then coming here, I don't know if it's because I'm older or if it's because it's LA. Everyone, like, having your own life outside of your improv team is so important because it's so stressful when someone's life is just the improv team and you're like, you gotta focus on something else for a second. We're just an improv team. I don't know if that makes sense. I think for me, when I first felt that like social anxiety the Tuesday after a Herald night, and what I've been working on since is just at the holiday party even, it's like, I am going to have fun here, but if I don't have the best time of my life, that's okay because I have a happy home. I have some cats. I have movies I can watch later. Like I have stuff outside of this community to keep me grounded. Because I think if you make the community your entire world, it's a little stressful.
That's a really good point. Just having something else to look forward to.
Yeah.
Because like I can totally imagine being in my early 20s and like having Herald Night be the highlight of my week.
Yeah, yeah.
This is what I'm, everybody's working for the weekend. I'm working for Herald Night.
Yeah.
But it is important to have other things where it's just like, hey, I have Herald Night, but Wednesday I got,
Pickle Club.
Pickleball Club. No, Pickle Club. This is where we all bring our pickles that look like.
I wish I liked pickles more. They're too sour for me. But yeah.
You like cucumbers?
Yeah. I love cucumbers.
You're welcome. You're welcome at Pickle Club.
You're welcome. Come on by and bring your slightly salted cucumber. Yeah. And also I think LA is such a grind town, as we all famously know. So you got to have 8 things going at once, no matter what. I think I got on a Herald team. I was like, I've made it. And then I was like, oh, wait. I also have to keep writing and auditioning and making friends.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, in the spirit of like the anxiety and like the productiveness, I also wanted to talk about like talking about the show or notes or stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
This is something that I'm curious to hear how things worked in Chicago, but out here in LA, I really only experience it on house teams and on class shows. But other than that, I don't usually receive notes after a show. I usually don't want notes after the show. I definitely want to talk to my teammates about what just happened. I want to move on to the next moment. But how do you feel about notes after a show?
I like them. It is tough though, because you can walk off stage and be like, I feel kind of good about that. And then you go to the little hallway green room and you sit down and your coach is like, well, and you're like, oh, and then you walk to birds and you're like, I feel bad now. And then you get a little in your head. And so I love notes as a performer, but it is interesting. I've kind of wondered sometimes if we could just hold notes until the next rehearsal because there's such a adrenaline rush coming off stage, being on stage, and then to sit for 20 to 40 minutes and just get kind of roasted or complimented or discuss the show in a logical, analytical way is a really quick mental shift, which can be kind of discombobulating.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I brought it up. It's just because like coming from like any other, I don't maybe it's like a acting thing or art thing, but like anywhere else, that note still would apply a week from now, a month from now. So that note is still like credible. It's like it's still gonna apply. It's still gonna be useful. Now the right immediately right after, I can see why some people think, well, it just happened, so it's fresh in your memory. But you know, whether you tell me now, you tell me a week from now, I'm still gonna absorb it. Maybe that's how everybody works. That's not like how everybody approaches improv. But I think that shift of I feel great to oh no, you know, it's like that's self-critical inner talk. I think can be really tough and it can really challenge people's relationship to the art.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I just found this out. It's a little bit more maybe too much information, but like I was just reading a book about like codependency.
Yeah.
And apparently not everybody has an inner monologue that's always
which is
self-critical.
Honestly makes me want to throw up the thought that not everyone has that.
I know. Apparently a lot of people are just like happy. All the time. So when I read that, I was like, that's why I think getting notes at the show kind of works for me because I'm kind of you're just kind of reinforcing what I'm already thinking. Okay, yeah, I was being a little bit too energetic or like yeah, I should have done that better. But to see like especially my other teammates like their faces drop, I'm like, oh, they were on cloud 9 and you brought them back down to cloud 2. Terrible.
I do think now that we're talking about this and then thinking about like hanging out with the teams after the show, I do think it's not super healthy all the time to just sit, just you and your team being like, yeah, we really messed up. That was not, oh God, I wish I had done that. Oh, I should have done that. Like that, I don't think is helpful.
And I think that only comes from a culture of getting notes after a show.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
and I also think
about it.
Everyone's different. So there's 8 people on this team. Everyone deals with criticism differently. Some people love talking about what they did wrong and they don't find that kind of inner monologue of negativity and self-hate. And some people are like, yeah, I guess we did kind of mess up. I guess I should just go to sleep forever now. I don't feel good anymore. And I do think, yeah, just the big jump from big applause, especially on Herald Night, such a good house, to sitting and being told what you did wrong is a big shift, and not everyone can handle it the same. Not everyone handles it the same way. Everyone's different.
At IO in Chicago, was it also notes after shows?
Yeah, I can't imagine a world where we didn't get notes after shows. I think maybe in Second City, when we were on tour, our director wasn't with us. We were just out and about. We would just do our show, and we kind of have a sense of like, that was okay. Anyways, moving on. But yeah, I think we always got notes after shows.
That's something I like about the theater world. I don't know much about the theater world, but I've heard from other actor friends that they get all their notes during rehearsals and during the pre-show. And once the show happens, it's like, what notes can I give you? You already drilled this into your bones for like 2 months.
Yeah. Also, I think now that I've been doing it a couple years, decades, from notes, I really want just of like, just tell me exactly how I could have done it better. And I'll be like, great, let's move on. I think that with different coaches, different styles of notes, it's like, oh yeah, that was the strongest choice. And I'm like, okay, tell me how it could have been stronger versus just kind of generic negative notes. Especially at UCB, I've been craving and our coach right now is amazing. Being able to be like, would it have been stronger if I had done this with the cat? And be like, yeah, probably. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let's move on. I got to see it more as like an analytical thing of like, how can I help my team in the future, not roast myself right now.
Yeah. And something, I'll give him a shout out, James Mannion, something he does really well. And I hope more coaches are doing this or adopt something like this, but like he'll kind of tell you where it went wrong and then not talk about the rest of it, right?
Yeah.
So if he'll be like, yeah, in the first beat, you had your initiate, which is really great, but then when we framed it, it shifted a little bit from what was the original thing from the premise. So now that we shifted it, it's all a little bit off. Yeah. And then he won't talk about the second beat. Well, it was off, and that way it doesn't like make you feel bad about the same mistake like 3-4 times.
Yeah.
Because like once you said like, yeah, well, once it was off in the framing,
right. Yeah.
we know it's off for the rest of the show. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm
I
like,
think,
that's really good because now we are more focused on making sure that like
yeah.
first beat is clear.
The clearer notes, the better. And I think what gets me tripped up, I'll speak for myself, is when notes are kind of vague or like trying to not hurt your feelings. I'm like, we're all professionals here. We want to do a good job and just like do it, like deliver the notes like a doctor reading a prescription or something. Don't do it like, oh yeah, guys, that wasn't so great. And you're like, oh, like the vagueness in comedy or like the just not being transparent in all aspects of life really stresses me out. So I'm just like, please just tell me what you think.
Right. Because
And I
for
won't
again,
let my ego get in the
people like you
way.
and me, they don't tell us what it is.
I
We
will think about what you meant the
overthink
whole day.
and we'll turn into 3, 4, 5 different things rather than just the
Yeah.
one thing you probably meant.
Also, because improv is just you on stage, especially UCB, it's very much you kind of being a bigger version of yourself, but it's still close to home. I've always felt it's hard to get notes and then be like, okay, he's not saying that Liliana's a bad person or I'm a dumbass. It's just like my improv brain could be a little better. It's hard to separate your because as a comedian you are like your version of funny, what you find funny, that's what you're presenting to the world. It's hard not to take it personally sometimes.
That's a really good point. Yeah, and hopefully more people have that level of like detachment from the
It's
art.
so hard.
Yeah, I mean it's very hard because
I'm just saying that like I can't do it, but I'm working on it. Being like no ego. Yeah, I could have been better, but I love myself enough to know that I'm pretty good, and I can only get better if I want to.
And how about that in terms of aftercare? Like the very first thing you should do right when you walk off stage is remember you shed who that person was.
Yeah,
that was on stage, Lilliana. That was performance David. But now I'm back in the room, and now I'm human David,
ooh,
ready to hear about what performer David did, but not
interesting.
manifest those like criticisms to myself.
I think what I struggle with and why I deal with a lot of anxiety is I don't have different versions of myself. I'm always Liliana, human, in all scenarios. That's why I cry so easily. And people tell me that my emotions are always at the ready because I'm always just like myself. I can't, and I think I've been thinking about this a lot recently, especially with like the holiday party or any kind of big social event. It's like, okay, I got to put on a version of myself that's like untouchable. Or I think I am always very quick to be vulnerable and kind of show everyone my underbelly. And I'm really working hard these days to not show everyone my secrets and not like, because I am codependent. I was raised codependent and I'm working on that. And so as an improviser, it's codependency is death of improv. And I'm working on that. Because it's just the worst to your scene partner to be like, oh, right, what do you want from me? It's like, that's not helpful in an improv scene. You got to do your own thing. And then in LA, in any kind of job scenario, you can't look to everyone to validate your existence. You have to be like strong enough as your own person, and then that'll help everybody out.
Yeah, definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, like being codependent is really tough in this art form where it is all collaborative and all teamwork. Yeah. Never like, tell me which way we're going. You got to help guide them too.
But it's just like comedians are, I think the funniest people are the saddest people. I host a show called Sad Funny. Come on down. Just about anxiety and comedy. And it's just so funny that I find myself here doing this because I'm just need everyone to love me in order to like sleep at night. And I've chosen an art form where I want them to laugh at me. And also I put myself up for display once a week. It's tough. My therapist is always confused. Whenever I meet a new therapist, they're like, oh, and you chose to do this with all the stuff going on? I'm like, absolutely.
You're like, love me, but show your love by ridiculing me.
Yeah. Or even just like, I've chosen a life where my success kind of hinges on some kind of external validation, some major sense of external validation.
Yeah.
And it would probably be healthier if I didn't need that in my life, in my career.
Well, how about that?
So this is my last.
How about
I'm quitting improv.
Yeah.
Quitting
how about
comedy.
that for aftercare? How about have a fully actualized self and sense of self?
It's so hard though. But that's what I'm currently working on, is having to just being able to get in my car after a show or a big kind of comedy social networking event and be like, I did what I could do.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I'm okay.
And I think it's important to also, if you are experiencing stuff like this, like you're not alone. Like this is a very like pervasive thing in the world of improv, in the world of performing arts, in the world of theater. Like
okay, but making it less sad. and less broad therapy. I do think, as far as improv's related, for this specific why we're here, our coach was talking about this last night. Like, codependency in improv is so harmful to your scene partner because all they want from you is to, especially UCB style improv, you come out as the unusual, and the voice of reason should be helping you establish that base reality of like, no, we're on a first date. You're being a little weird, instead of like, yeah, you're weird. How can I help? Because that's just not helpful at all.
Yeah, yeah.
So being a strong version of yourself is always going to be good in improv.
Yeah, and trying to bring that up, yeah, like it's like a tug of war, and if you're not strong, and you're just giving them more slack, you just make
you're hurting them. You think that you're helping them, but you're actually hurting the scene. You're hurting the show. And that was a big revelation for me. I was like, oh, me saying, how can I help you, is probably the worst thing I could do in an improv scene.
All right, last thing to talk about aftercare. I think we kind of tackle a lot of them: socializing, drinking, eating, notes, thinking. I guess the last one, thinking. The last one I kind of want to bring up, unless you had some more to think about too, but like I want to talk about sleep.
Oh yeah,
this is such a big one.
Is it because Dakota Johnson just said that she gets 14 hours of sleep every night?
Yeah, she was saying I'm useless without at least 10, and I'm like, then what am I?
The privilege to have that situation.
Yeah, I thought that was I think that quote might end up biting her in the butt in a couple of years. Anyways, most improv shows are at night. I can't imagine an improv show ending with the sun still out. And again, because we're doing all these other things, you can't just go to bed.
Yeah.
So you do need some form of aftercare, and unfortunately, sometimes the aftercare choices that we make energize you.
Yeah.
Some people go out for drinks, they energize you. Some people get food. Now you're got a belly full of food you gotta digest. Some people, I don't know, go for a mile run. Now your heart's pounding. But the most important thing you probably do need at 11, 12 p.m. 11 p.m., 12 a.m. at night is to go to bed.
Yeah.
We're jazzed. We're all amped up. I guess that's all I had to say. But what are your thoughts on that?
I was just letting you. It was beautiful, so I was letting you go. I think, sleep is so important, and also I think a lot about how, especially with the sun going down earlier, and in Chicago, the sun goes down earlier, and it's cold. Leaving the house is so hard, and there's shows. I have a friend who has a show at 11 p.m. often, and I've never gone because I'm like, woof.
We love you.
Oh, absolutely. I've always wanted to go, but yeah, it's really hard, and I think if you're not making a living doing those shows and you have to wake up for your job, or to walk your dog, or to do this and that, it can feel really overwhelming, and you can feel like you're failing or disappointing people or not doing what you need or being where you need to be. But yeah, it goes back to that thing of just, you gotta put yourself first and hope that you doing that will help you show up as your best self when you are there. Like if it means like going home after the show because it's already 11:30, or I think also you could have that one night where you're like, oops, got 4 hours of sleep last night, and then the next day you find some time, or like make sure you like look at your planner ahead of time and you try to carve out like that Wednesday will be the day I just stay in bed.
Yeah, like speaking of Dakota Johnson, her luxury, I have a luxury too. I have a luxury where I work from home, so like immediately before a show, sometimes I'll go to bed after work.
Oh yeah.
So I'll take a nap from like 5 to 7.
Wow.
And that helps, like I know not everybody can do that. Some people have other things going on, but if you can, wherever you can squeeze in a nap, do that, because I think sleep is important. Sleep is precious, and if you have the ability to nap, it is an ability.
It's an ability.
A lot of people don't have that, but if you can build up that, work on that skill set, take a nap and then wake up, and then you can go to your show kind of guilt free, and you kind of stay up all night, and then you kind of know like, well, I already got a little bit of sleep earlier, so I don't feel so bad about it.
And if you can't nap, even just like doing restful or mindfulness exercises is a great way to kind of just reset your brain.
Thanks for bringing it up. I forgot where I read it and I had to find it, but there is a study that shows that like if you lie down in your car for 20 minutes, just peaceful, eyes closed, that can be as rejuvenating as a 20-minute nap.
Yeah. So if even you can't get that actual, oops, I think I fell asleep, you can still kind of get that rest and recharge you need.
Yeah. So even if it's showing, getting to the venue early, and then we're like, hey, we're gonna get drinks. Like, well, I'm not getting drinks because I'm gonna lay in my car.
I'll see you at 6:30. Yeah. Yeah. Because also everyone wants to hang out after the show, so you can prioritize getting rest before the show.
Yeah, but like however you can, rest up, and again, if this whole thing's about making your improv better, that's the one thing that'll make your improv better. Baby.
Absolutely. because you don't, I mean, I've been also been getting Moroccan mint tea before shows, which is, a little bit of caffeine, a little bit of peppermint for the tummy, and just finding those kind of new rituals versus the like glass of wine or the feeling stressed and running late. Just finding your new ritual that's a little healthier, but feels as fun and as special for improv shows is really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can.
All right, great. Well, that has been our discussion on Improv Aftercare. Between Lily and I, we've all tried it all. We tried it all. We weighed some of the pros and cons, but hopefully you find what works for you. And whatever works for us is not necessarily going to work for you, but, find out what does.
Also, if you can just go for it and you never feel a hangover or any kind of anxiety, have fun.
Just go out there.
No pressure to try anything new if you're having the best time of your life.
I was thinking that the other day, it's like, oh my gosh, what if I was 23 right now?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're 23,
if you're just a golden retriever kind of person, and you're like, what's up next? I'm like, good for you.
You're talking to a bunch of people in their 30s talking about their bones and their sleep. If you're 23, rock out.
Yeah.
Have fun. All right, great. We're going to go ahead and jump into our last segment now, which is going to be our Hot Improv Takes.
Oh.
So this is our opportunity just to rant about something going on in improv, a trend that we've seen currently, something we'll see more of, see less of, or if it's just perfect, keep it where it is at. But it has to be a hot take.
Okay. What's yours?
I'll go first.
And to get inspired.
Yeah. I'll go first. All right.
I should have thought of this.
Hot improv take. Don't fight with your scene partner on stage. Do it after the show like the rest of us. We get it. Sometimes somebody messes up a fact, or sometimes they will, not pick up what you're putting down. Don't just be like, I said we're in a time machine. What are you doing? Because that is going to translate. And, it's, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Don't argue in front of the kids and the audience of the kids. You need to have that discussion. You need to work it out. But we're having dinner right now, and now little Billy is scared. So just don't do it. I know the impulse is there, but that is you not doing the inner work of being like, hey, we're in front of an audience that's alive, and right now what's more important is putting on a good show. And I will deal with, my scene partner later on. We'll talk about it later on, but don't do it. I've seen it ruin the vibe of the entire show. Sometimes people will you'll see two people argue in a set, and now the rest of literally the rest of the show, even there's like 2 or 3 other teams after you, everyone's just like on edge because we just witnessed trauma. And now we're all thinking about Thanksgiving dinner thanks to you.
Can I do a little yes and to your rant? I love that rant. It was so good. I could not agree more. And also, what I will say, I had a separate rant, but maybe this is mine. The cheap joke. Never go for the cheap joke on stage.
That's what it feels like. Yeah. It's that. I mean, that's kind of, I guess that's the real note. This is like just don't get a cheap joke if somebody does
never be worth it.
Yeah.
You get a big laugh from the audience because you said the clever thing that they all were thinking.
Get the Q-tips out of here, Janine. I'm trying to tell you that we have a big meeting. And they're like,
if I was your scene partner, I'd be like, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to the back line now. Thank you for having me. You'd break my heart, and I'd be so in my head the rest of the show.
And the audience is going to be paying attention to Janine, and they're like, she doesn't have Q-tips in her ears.
Janine, okay. She looks sad. Women are sad. My hot take, what I'd see more of, which I think UCB was the first one that I kind of realized you're allowed to do this, is like, ask what? Similar. Instead of being like, sorry, we're in a dinner, and you're like, no, it's a time machine. You gotta just be like, sorry, I didn't hear you. And you could just tell me the thing again. Mm-hmm. I think being able to just clarify on stage as you're smart to improvise yourself is very freeing. And there's no rush to get to the funny thing. Just make sure you're set up for success first, and ask them like, sorry, I think I missed what your not initiation, obviously, you're in character. But if someone comes out and rambles through their first sentence, and you come out and you're like, sorry, I missed that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just be in character, be supportive, and get what you need. Separate from improv. Sorry. It was also a note that I kind of am taking from acting, where for commercial auditions, they're so run and gun. You go in there, they're like, okay, so your staples, that's the thing, your eyeline's here, okay, go. And you are completely allowed to just be like, sorry, 1 second. So I'm looking over there, and this is this. Great, thank you so much.
And I'm looking at a salesperson or the register. What am I looking at?
Yeah, just make sure, just don't be afraid to take that small beat and just take a deep breath and be like, right, sorry, I missed that. Would you mind telling me one more time? Great, amazing, let's play.
Yeah,
that's my.
And you know what? It's unfortunate that has to be a hot take, because that's a decent human being thing to be able to like ask and
I think the nerves though of especially being an improv show, that first beat, that first scene out, and being like, absolutely, yeah, we're making sandwiches. Oh, sorry, salami. Oh, sorry. You just want to make sure that everyone's good And I love my hot take again, this and is really slow beginnings of scenes. I think that was a Chicago thing that I'm bringing back into my brain of like, oh, I liked this. It's actually allowed. You don't have to go so fast.
You're not the first person that has brought that up to me. Someone brought up, they said from an acting class where it's just like, well, you know, whenever you're reading a script or whenever you are like preparing a character, you have to envision who you are, what you're wearing, where you're at, who you're talking to. And in improv, you get that in the first line.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think the whole, it's also like the pressure of getting the initiation line out, the game out. I think there can be some, even it's just internal slowing down of like, I'm sitting here, there's a cupboard there. Great. How can I be, you know?
Yeah. A lot of times it'll be like hot and like, you know, I caught like they came in hot, right? Where it's just like, Richard, give me those copies. And you're like, well, who are we? Who's like, am I your secretary? Am I your boss? Am I your, you know, are we in an office? Are we in a copy store? A Staples or whatever? Like, what's going on? So, but if you are able to like slow down, you know, it's like, okay, great. And where are we again? Where's the copy machine? You know?
Yeah.
Copy machine's down by the cubicle. Great. Now I know we're in an office or whatever, right? Being able to slow down, I agree. And yeah, I guess that's just a byproduct of so many people like so much of improv and UCB in particular is like get it all in the first line.
Yeah.
We gotta jump right into the unusual thing. Get that first unusual in the middle, in your initiation if you can.
Yeah. And also the audience wants to see you relax. They don't want to see you stressed out. So take what you need. Aftercare on
During
stage.
care.
Take what you need, man. That's my new motto.
Yeah. I love that. All right, great. Thanks so much. Yeah, I think a lot of this has been like, taking care of ourselves, take care of each other. This has been like the care episode of
in a comfy chair.
Yeah. All right, great. Last thing I want to do is have you plug away all the different shows you had.
Oh, great. I have a show on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't know when this. You're cordially invited as a show I host at UCB Wednesday 12:20 at 8:30 p.m. I host a show called Sad Funny at Wino Vino Wine Bar, TBD on a new location because Wino Vino is changing, which is so sad.
They are?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
I know. It got bought by someone, and so now it's going to still have a venue, but TBD on if we still get to. It's gonna be jazz and comedy, but we'll see if it's still allowed to be like the same. Hopefully, I love it.
That basement's great.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
What are they gonna do with that basement?
It's gonna be a venue still.
Okay.
But for January, they're for sure closed.
Oh, I see.
In renovations.
In terms of booking, what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Oh no.
It'll be jazz. I'm sure it'll be the same, but you never know.
There's no money in jazz. The real money's in comedy. The money's in comedy.
I love that it's just jazz and open mics. Those open mics are crazy. Yeah, those are my shows.
And Herald Night.
And my Venmo is and Herald Night. Yeah, please. We have like 5 more, which is crazy until I assume things will get shaken up.
Wow, to hear you say it like that is scary. So not too many chances to catch rumors. Or maybe more. Maybe Mondays 7 or 8:30.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, great. Well, thanks so much for stopping by. It was great to chat with you
about
improv and take care of ourselves. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Do I have any plugs? I forget. You'll know where they are. All right. Awesome. That was great.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.